Perfect weather greeted teams as they assembled at the outlet from Lake Wanaka, ready to race 4 legs on the Clutha River. Our class leaders were all comfortable with their first runs and eager to maintain position. John Derry is carrying a massive 30-minute lead over the field with the no-show of Roger Preston. While out of overall contention, Preston was still in the hunt for championship points, but an oil leak in the gearbox late yesterday meant the gas turbine is trailer bound for the remainder of the marathon. Derry has gone into conservation mode. A-Class Justin Hill, holding second behind NZ1, said he wasn't pushing hard, but his time in the first leg was 20 seconds quicker than Derry's turbine. The gaps between the top 3 outright also helped CX leader Dave Robinson deliver consistent times to avoid him being caught. But at the halfway point, he was sure what needed to be done.
Just working the throttle, just keeping it from flying, and just burning it on the straights though. But yeah, just pleasure boat speed.
How rough is it?
It's terrible. I wish I'd cancelled the second leg, or the third and fourth leg.
Steve Rapsey in 305 wished it could be cancelled too. A squealing jet unit bearing threatening to knock him out of contention. Somehow they had to get down and back one more time before pulling the engine tonight to change the front bearing. A makeshift manual oiling system was cobbled together and fingers were crossed it would do the trick.
We're getting a T, we're going to put it in there, we're going to run a bottle up to the front that Adam's going to fill, and then that is going to push back into there. The boat's going to be a mess by the time they get up and back, but it's going to be okay.
You're going to manually...
We'll manually oil it through the up and down lead to get it through, and then tonight we'll pull it to bits and redo it.
Grant Perry had CX841 back in again today after a bent unit shaft curtailed his return to racing yesterday. Our FX class leader, Lee Harrison, had set himself a personal target of winning every leg of this marathon, and to date, he'd done just that. Today though, while others were maligning the pressure waves and big water of the Clutha, Riley Smith delivered a class fastest time in the first downstream leg.
Make no bones about it, it's definitely a hard river, but the pressure waves, we had a few, but we found it real good. Like, we even got our top speed this boat's ever seen going down there this morning, so we're stoked, smiling.
What was it?
We got 96 mile an hour coming down there, so it's pretty good out of a wee FX motor.
New to FX and the sport in general is Peter O'Sullivan. Racing runs through the family's veins. Father Roger, a long-time supporter of river racing. But this was Peter's first effort.
Yeah, it was good. Really good to do something different and good to do something that my dad's done. It's really, yeah, it's cool. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting on some braided rivers and having a bit better of a look, and just getting used to how the boat handles. Like, I haven't driven a boat for a while, and yeah, tunnel hulls are completely different to what I used to drive around in anyway. The old steel V bottoms. Yeah.
There wasn't much sympathy for the Clutha, especially with today's high flow. No surprise though that Tom Kelly's gas turbine would be quickest on both morning stages. No longer in outright contention, he's no threat to Derry. Winning for him would be bragging rights only. Still, lunchtime service brought more work.
The bushes they go in the back of the bowl, so we're just replacing those out. Looking at a clean up.
The weather found favour if the river did not, and lunch was a picnic by the lake. Time for the crew to polish the boats and readiness for the repeat afternoon legs.
Good work, buddy. Keep it up.
There was no change in the class orders in the afternoon, with everyone exercising caution in the conditions. Downstream, Tom Kelly had Golden Homes up to speed with the expectation of another fastest time, but an engine mount broke loose and the gas turbine dropped into the hull, causing driveshaft vibration and an eventual stop. He and Matt Grant had a few anxious moments keeping the tunnel hull out of the willows, but did make it back with a few bumps and grazes. It's the end of the marathon though, for the Golden Homes machine. And Richie Foster's thoughts on the Clutha, well, they've been further cemented.
Had a bad run on the Clutha today. Had a good run all day, everything was working to plan, and this last run of the day we came up to a corner. It was in our notes, we backed off the gas for it to get through a rapid. Went through it like we've done the rest of the day, but just the way the boat landed, it decided to go front in on a pressure wave, and we were in for a ride. But yeah, luckily we've got it back to the trailer. We sort of couldn't get the motor going, it had hydraulic full of water. Floating downstream for a bit there, hoping another boat was coming, but it seemed like it was forever. And then we finally got it fired up.
So what was written in your notes to remind you on that corner?
We've got some interesting statements in our notes. It's probably one of the biggest pressure wave corners of the whole day. Come up to it, it's a right hand bend, and you have to get from the inside of the corner to the out, and it is a case of just getting off the gas and picking your way through it.
On a positive note, Steve Rapsey's Heath Robinson repair to keep oil cooling the unit bearing worked, and 305 was back on the trailer ready for a proper repair to be completed tonight. For now though, it's time to celebrate completing another day's racing and still be in contention for an overall finish.